Hello everyone, South Political Central here. Welcome back to another video. And today I'm updating my midterm predictions. This is for June the 13th, 2026. You know how this works. I go from lean for safe, lean, likely lean until let's get right into it. So starting with the states for the Democrats. Let's go Oregon, Colorado, New Mexico, Illinois, New Jersey, Delaware, Virginia, Rhode Island, Massachusetts. That's it. For saves for Republicans: South Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, West Virginia, and South Carolina. Alright, next up are the likelies. I'll start with the Democrats. We got a couple here: Minnesota, New Hampshire. You may ask why? Well, especially with New Hampshire. Well, both New Hampshire and Minnesota voted for Harris around 5 points, and if the environment's around an 8 point Democratic generic ballot, it's going to be hard to see either of these states flipping in November. Alright, let's go now to likely Republicans. Nebraska. Actually, no. Montana, Iowa. So that is one big change. Montana is now likely Republican. Here is why. So an independent is going to have the endorsement of Democrats at their just today. The Democratic nominee for Senate is going to drop out and endorse the independent. So we'll have a Republican, an open Republican seat with an independent and a guy who was just given the Republican nomination due to a late retirement. And then in Iowa, I think Iowa is like seat 53 for the Democrat. 53 or 54 for the Democrat. Oh, and Florida. Florida C54, Iowa C53. It's going to be Iowa's more so than Florida due to how red Florida has gotten. And Iowa, I guess, strong candidate. I just don't think just that it's enough to have it lean at this point. Alright, now leans for the Democrats. Georgia, North Carolina, Michigan. Obviously, Georgia is very close, is a swing state. Well, all three of these are swing states, but I feel like Georgia and Michigan are Democratic held. I feel like Republicans are going to put up a good challenge, but I think that with how Ossoff is doing in Georgia and with how uh, uncharacteristic, I don't know how to explain it. Weak Republican characters and candidates in the Georgia race is the reason why Ossoff is a very big favorite. And in North Carolina, I believe Roy Cooper is a heavy favorite due to being a popular former governor. In Michigan, I believe it, even though it was redder than Wisconsin, I believe it's still the bluest out of the blue wall. And I still think in a good year, right, for the Democrats like this, I think Democrats are going to do very okay. It's not going to be like Gretchen Whitmer type wins. It's going to be modest 2 to 3 point win. Alright, so right now I do lean for the Republicans. Nebraska and Texas. Alright, these are these races or 52 and 53. I, I believe with how Dan Osborne's been doing and how it seems like James Talrico is going to have has an incredible fundraising advantage already, and with how bad of Baggett's compaction is going to be close. I don't see it right now where Democrats took Texas, but I believe Texas will become more like 2020 than 2024 if this trend holds up. Alright, and finally the Tilds. Till Democrat in Alaska, Maine, Till Republican in Ohio. Alright, here's my reasoning. For Maine and Alaska, for Maine, we have a only Republican in a Harris state, and Graham Partner is scandalous if it was like controversial, but it could be leaning them, but it's still them anyway because Susan Collins, like her or not, is a strong incumbent. She beat tough environments before, so yeah. And then Alaska, Mary Pilatola has led all year in the polls. She won in a red year. Her two elections were a 10-point, a 3-point, and a 10-point win. A 3-point win in a special election in August of 22. A 10-point win in a red environment and a 3-point loss in a red environment. We have never seen how Patola has done in a blue environment. So we'll see what happens. And then Ohio, Sarah Brown has been gaining ground, but I still think national politics for Senate, I think it's a little too red for Ohio. So that's where I stand right now. 50-50 Senate, Vance breaks the tie, majority Republican. Alright. So let's go over the governors. Same thing. We're going to go safe, likely lean tilt. Let's get right into it. Safe for the Democrats. Oregon, California, New Mexico, Colorado, Hawaii, Illinois, Minnesota, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Maryland, Maine, Pennsylvania, New York. Alright, that's it for Democrats. For Republicans, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Tennessee, South Carolina, and that's it. And Vermont. Alright, here we go. So, many are saying Pennsylvania. I disagree with no, Pennsylvania is not flipping. Josh Shapiro has been leading by like 20 points in the few general election polls we've seen. Alright, so next is our likelies. Kansas, Texas, Alabama, Florida, New Hampshire, for the Republicans. Here's my reasoning. In Alabama, we got Doug Jones running for governor against Tommy Tuberville in a 2020 U.S. Senate rematch. Doug Jones, a strong Democrat for Alabama. I think he'll get it within 20. In Florida, iffy. Texas, again, Abbott's not Paxton. And he is a three-time governor, won by nice margins. Even Kansas, Republican state, Democrat, if is terminated, should be an easy pickup there. And then New Hampshire, odds popular, should be a solid to easy win there. And then likely for the Democrats. Michigan, and that's it. It looks like there will be no vote split from the Democrats, so it seems like Johnson Benson, who won her last two elections in landslides for Secretary of State, will probably comfortably win. Alright, here we go. Leans for the Republicans. Alaska, Nevada. In Alaska, ranked choice voting, very, very questionable for Republicans. Democrats could pull it off. And then in Nevada, swing state, but I favored the incumbent Joe Lombardo. Republicans did win the popular vote in the primary for governor. I don't know what the primary generic ballot was in the entire state, but I believe governor primary, Democrats, Republicans got outvoted by Democrats. My Democrats got outvoted by Republicans that don't know what I was saying by 1,000 votes. So I say Lombardo narrowly, but it is Nevada. Keep your eyes on it. Alright, leads for the Democrats. Iowa and Wisconsin. Alright, so here's my reasoning behind Iowa. The Trump-backed Republican Randy Feenstra, who probably was the strongest Republican, lost to a guy who is reportedly still registered to vote in Kansas. Sand is a very strong candidate, won in a very big red wave in Iowa in 22. As state auditor, very strong Democrat. He won in a red wave. He also won in a blue wave here. So with a blue environment and with an unknown Republican, I see that lean Democrat right now due to the environment of Iowa. But I say Sanders is a very good favorite. And then tilts, I got Ohio for the Republican, Georgia and Arizona for Democrats. Again with Ohio, I say Acton is more favorable. It's a slightly better favorite than Sherrod to win than Sherrod is, but I believe that the reason why I think Acton will do better than Sherrod is because of the candidate in Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy. He is not really that popular, I don't think, and weak candidate. And then in Georgia and Arizona, pure battlegrounds, Democrats seem to have a little edge there. We'll see what happens, especially in Georgia. See if Ossoff can carry Keisha Lance Bottoms, the Democratic nominee, over the edge. Alright, time to go to the House. The non-toss-up races I have here, I have 91 toss-ups. 56 to 156 goes to Republican. 188 I have going to Democrats. Those are my non-competitive races. So let's get started. Up here in the Northeast, Maine 2, I have him as tilt Republican. Alright, New Hampshire 2, likely Democrat. So for Maine 2, Trump won it 3 times. The only reason why it's been blue is Jared Golden's been outrunning other Democrats by a lot. So with Golden retiring, I only have it as still Republican because difficult environment. But it's still Republican enough, so I see it flipping. Alright, over in New York, the Stefanik seat, likely Republican. Josh Lally, likely Democrat. Lean Democrat in the Lawler seat. Lean Democrat there. Likely Democrat in the 2 Democrat held Long Island seats. In the other Long Island seat, New York 1, I got it as likely Republican. Over in New Jersey and PA, likely Republican in the 2nd of New Jersey, but with the stuff going on with Tom Kaine, I got this now as lean Democrat in New Jersey 7. I got lean Democrat here in Pennsylvania 7. Chill Democrat in Pennsylvania 8. Lean Republican in Pennsylvania 1. Lean Democrat in Pennsylvania 10. And likely Republican in Pennsylvania 16. I believe that all races, I believe Democrats will be doing better across the state of Pennsylvania due to the expected strong performance of Josh Shapiro, plus the bad national environment. I see 3 seats flipping to Democrats in Pennsylvania. In Virginia, lean Republican in the 1st, likely Democrat, and then lean Democrat here in the 2nd. In North Carolina, lean tilt Democrat in the Don Davis seat, likely, and then lean. In South Carolina, the 1st is likely Republican. Here in Georgia, likely, and this seat's supposed to be likely as well. Florida. Prepare yourselves, there's going to be a bunch of likely Republicans. Here, 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 and here. All likely Republican. Alright. In the 9th. That would be a pickup, by the way. Lean Republican in the 7th of Florida and the 13th of Florida. I got Till Republican in the new 14th. Till Republican here. Likely Republican here. Till Republican here. Likely Republican. And then right here, Till Democrat. Alright. For Alabama, the Alabama seat, likely Republican. Up here, Kentucky. And then going up to the Midwest. Here we go. Likely Republican in Kentucky 6 and Indiana 5. Ohio 8. Likely Republican. Lean Democrat. Lean Republican here. Likely Republican in the 7th of Ohio. And then likely Democrat in the 1st and 13th of Ohio. And then finally the 9th of Ohio is a lean Democrat. Michigan. Till Democrat. Lean Democrat. Likely Democrat. In the 4th, lean Republican. Alright, in Wisconsin, these two are likely lean for Republican and then lean Democrat in the 3rd. For Minnesota, both of these seats are likely, and then the 2nd is also likely Democrat. Likely Democrat in Iowa 2, or the 1st of Iowa. Lean Republican here in the 2nd of Iowa, and then the 3rd is lean Democrat. Likely Democrat in Nebraska 2nd, open Nebraska 2nd. And in Missouri seats, both are likely Republican. Then went to Oklahoma and Texas. Likely Republican here in Oklahoma 5th. Likely Republican here, here, and here. Alright. Lean Republican here in the 23rd and 15th. Likely Democrat. Lean Democrat. And then Till Republican in the 35th. Alright, over in New Mexico, the 4 corners of the Southwest in Nevada. likely Democrat, lean Democrat. Likely Democrat in New Mexico second, lean Democrat in Colorado's 8, lean Republican, likely Republican for the rest of the Colorado seats. For the simple reason Colorado continues to move left. In Arizona, lean Republican, and then the other Arizona seats are lean Democratic, likely Democratic here, and the 2 Nevada seats held by Democrats, and then likely Republican in the second. Lean Republican in Montana is first. By the way, the Democrats are already at 220. They'll be the majority in my prediction. Likely Democrat here in these 2 seats, and then down here, California, likely Democrat, lean, and then lean. And then in Alaska, I got lean Republican. Alright, so my House prediction, I have 225 Democrats, 210 Republicans, with a bunch of more Republican seats being competitive than Democratic seats. And I'll see you, and that's my updated predictions. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you made it through this whole video. And I'll see you guys on, I believe, Tuesday. I'll be live again. I'll see you guys then.